and the Global Fund signed a new funding mechanism to accelerate the end of AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis as epidemics. The multi-billion agreement covers the period spanning 2021 to 2023. Artists in Cameroon go on a noisy note, venting their dissatisfaction over amounts paid out to them as royalties by their rights corporation, Sonacam. The state honors the handball lionesses of Cameroon, who did the nation proud, emerging runners-up in the Continental Women Handball Cup with medals of distinction of the Cameroon National Order. Those are our lead stories. Hello and thanks for joining us. I am Ben Menopufong and this is the 7:30 News.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
You're welcome once again. The government of Cameroon and the Global Fund to fight against AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis have signed a new funding agreement for the period spanning 2021 to 2023. The deal will see the Global Fund pump in 164 billion CFA francs in efforts to reduce the spread and follow-up of patients of HIV/AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis in Cameroon. The signing in Yaoundé today was chaired by the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Joseph Diangute. Christian Che Atam reports.
Uniting efforts to combat diseases and improve lives. That is the sense of this third funding initiative signed by the Global Fund with the Republic of Cameroon. The organization will pump 164 billion francs to support initiatives which target the treatment, prevention, and improvement of services to patients of AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis. Representing the head of state at the event, Prime Minister Joseph Diangute expressed gratitude to financial backers of the Global Fund. He said their efforts will boost the capacity of the government in providing health care.
The implementation of the third round of the Global Fund's new financial mechanism is another opportunity that should be capitalized on in partnership with the private sector. It is with these words that I declare officially launched the activities carried out within the framework of the fight against AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria under the third cycle of the new Global Fund financing mechanism.
The representative of the Executive Director of the Global Fund, Mark Eddington, speaking via video conferencing, saluted the engagement by the Cameroon government to complement the fight against AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis to the tune of 80 billion francs for the period 2021 to 2023.
And 1,481.1 billion CFA francs on international financial market, 3 times more than the 450 billion CFA francs target. The money will be used to service the total 2015 Eurobond debt of the same value. With me here in the studio is senior reporter Crise Takang, who will be putting the development in context. Hello, Clarice.
Hello, Ben.
Thanks for joining us. Now, would you say that this new development comes like a surprise? Was it unexpected?
It's quite unexpected, Ben, and I will explain, because we know that we're going to the international market with a 450 billion CFA francs target in mind. And given the global economic outlook with the coronavirus pandemic, which is plaguing the whole world, we clearly had security threats in many parts of the world, including Cameroon. So it was not a foregone conclusion. It was not evident that Cameroon was going to be able to raise that amount of money on the international market. But now we've been able to raise 1,481.1 billion CFA francs, and we're talking about 321% of the initial target. It is indeed a handshaking event, and we equally know that this comes after the May 2021 presidential ordinance, which modified Article 49 of the 2021 state budget. And we know that that is very important because there are a couple of projects Cameroon has been involved in, and it's important to be able not only to push through those projects, but it's equally very important to be able to reassure investors that the money they've put in is going to be reimbursed. And that is exactly what has happened with this amount of money that Cameroon has been able to negotiate through the Eurobonds.
Now tell me, what is the meaning of all of this development for the Cameroon?
Well, it means a couple of things. First, Cameroon will be able to redeem 80% of the 2015 Eurobond, and at very preferential interest rate. The 2015 Eurobond was negotiated with an interest rate of 9.5%. That's quite high, but now Cameroon has been able to secure more than 450 billion CFA francs at an interest rate of 5.95%. Those are very favorable market conditions. It equally means that Cameroon has a bigger margin to negotiate other loans because the elements of trust and credibility are firmly in place. We all know, Ben, that it's very important. Many investors, I should say all investors, are quite aware of the fact that they will be unable to get a return on their investment if they put in money. And that has been laid to rest. Their fears have been laid to rest with all of this. And I just want to share a few details concerning this new Eurobond that Cameroon has been able to contract. First of all, like I said, it has an interest rate of 5.95%, favorable conditions for the country. It's very economically friendly. It has an 11-year maturity, and there were 205 investors involved. So it means that many people were quite interested in taking part in this exercise, and Cameroon has been able to pull off this feat, which, like I said, is very important for the country. And we equally know that what equally played in Cameroon's favor was the fact that there's an upcoming program with the IMF that's unfolding. It's not yet been concluded, it's in the pipeline. There's equally the fact that the implementation of the 2020-2030 National Development Strategy is on course. So all those things played in Cameroon's favor. So it's quite a big deal for Cameroon.
Thank you very much, Clarissa Ray Takang, for those.
My pleasure.
Now we continue in this newscast to say the 4th edition of the Fair on Timber Products Made in Cameroon has been launched in Yaoundé with focus on promoting legal timber and non-timber products. The event was opened by the Minister of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, Social Economy and Handicraft, Achille Basilican III, who insisted on the need for the sector to strictly abide by the rules to fight climate change and sustainable development. Nuweya Ben Mudika reports on the Cameroonian Woodworks Savoir Fair under exhibition at the Yaoundé Conference Center.
To relaunch the poultry sector in the post-COVID-19 era, the Cameroon Agro-Industrial Company, representing about 80% of local production, projects producing enough to meet the demand and to reduce capital flights estimated in billions due to over-dependence on poultry imports.
The need of eggs in our domain is too high. We need to... and the need of chicks, one-day chicks also.
Their ambition is to bring the price of a day-old chick from the current 500 francs to 350 instead of 800 francs. Minister Taiga, who describes them as the government's poultry farms, promised them every necessary support, notably a tax-free importation of their equipment.
I'm very satisfied for what Cameroon are doing regarding to poultry. I'm very satisfied and come to congratulate all these investors.
The company, created since 1984, intends making their structure a production basin for Cameroon and the sub-region. Their objective is to work for food self-sufficiency, just as they have built connecting roads and bridges while offering 100 direct jobs and lower cost of living through better prices.
We now talk, we continue in this newscast to talk about the wood fair industry in the country, which is at times, because that was Nuweya Ben Modika, for me to rectify that, Nuweya Ben Modika was reporting there on the visit of the Minister of Fishery, of Animal Husbandry, to some production centers in the capital city and not on the Yaoundé Wood Fair. But that food fair, as it opens in the nation's capital today, seems it's laying emphasis on the need to produce Cameroonian brand in the market and procurement laws in the country as contractors to lay emphasis on using made in Cameroon wood, especially when they are placing commands for government contracts. We have details of that particular report on what the country is doing to promote the wood sector in this paper.
Local craftsmen involved in woodwork insist that they will be able to satisfy their customers from public administrations only with the right tools.
We are expecting to receive funds beforehand to buy the wood, dry it and work on it. Many times we are not given time to work well and do things in a hurry. We equally need machinery to be able to satisfy big orders.
There are equally constraints linked to availability of raw material.
Il faut déjà qu'on permette à ces artisans d'accéder.
Craftsmen should be able to have wood from legal sources at affordable prices. There should also be a support fund for competitiveness. Elsewhere, the woodwork of craftsmen is exported. Cameroonian woodworkers have the skills to do the same. Craftsmen don't have money to buy wood in great quantities.
Ces artisans n'ont pas de ressources financières pour se constituer de stocks de bois.
While many are looking for a perfect finish, a joint approach with a common goal is put forward.
Artisans, they have the skills to provide the market. We have several challenges. The first one is provision of legal wood. The second one is also their own legalization has their own existence.
Given the economic strength of the wood sector, public contracts are expected to play a strategic role to keep it growing.
More than 16,000 Cameroonian youths have benefited from socio-economic empowerment through some 6,000 projects evaluated at about 15 billion CFA francs. The figures were made public by the Minister of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, Mununa Futsu, during the biannual evaluation of the 3-year Special Youth Plan, which seeks to financially support some 1.5 million young Cameroonians in different fields of life. Gerard Nanji Eyambe reports.
Experts hold that the solution to the perennial problem of youth employment in the country largely depends on the implementation of the different youth programs. Meeting in Yaoundé to assess the roadmap of the 3-year Special Youth Plan, stakeholders expressed satisfaction with the level of implementation this far.
Within the 3 axes of the plan, we are satisfied that the first one concerning the National Youth Observatory is operational. There are more than 1 million young people registered at the platform, 8,000 projects that have been financed.
Barely 6 months to the end of the program, more than 200 motorbikes and 14 four-wheel drive vehicles were handed to actors to accelerate their activities.
We are working within the rural milieu. Our collaborators need more means for transportation.
With the difficult terrain of the southwest, I think it's going to help us a lot to carry out activities in the field.
This falls in line with government action to actively integrate the youth in the socio-economic development of the country.
The challenges encountered by Cameroonians living abroad in the acquisition of land and house ownership in the country came under review at the National Assembly today. In a sensitization plenary chaired by the Deputy Speaker, Abba Alim, members of government, joint diaspora representatives and the Parliamentary Network for Diaspora and Cooperation to draft out solutions to the burning issue. Esther Kmer has the details.
A synergy of action concentrated to stimulate investments of the nearly 8 million Cameroon's diaspora in the land tenure sector, Deputy Speaker Honorable Abba Alim admits it is a stitching time that saves 9.
We work with the diaspora in order to ask them to invest into Cameroon.
For the network's chair, Honorable Henri Luingacha, the administrative bottlenecks encountered are a major hindrance.
There are so many stages insofar as the ownership of land is concerned. They should make some sort of one-stop shop.
Those who are not living in Cameroon, how they can create a special forum where they can have access to easy land titles.
The nationality issue also worries.
The problem of double nationality. We cannot buy land here. We don't have structure who can help you and facilitate our investment in Cameroon.
Beyond the land reforms outlined by Minister Henri Eyebe Ayisi, other state moves are on course.
To give 10% of low-cost housing to diaspora.
The position of local authorities is going to be reinforced. They will be able to help the diaspora to acquire land into councils and regions.
With the easing of investment possibilities, Cameroon's diaspora can effectively play its role of nation building.
The bill to amend and supplement some provisions of the finance law of Cameroon for the 2021 fiscal year and another to organize and promote volunteering in Cameroon have been adopted at the upper house of Parliament. The two bills were adopted today during a plenary sitting chaired by Senate President Marcel Nyat Njifenji. Senate correspondent Charles Anyangwe reports.
The ordinance to amend and supplement some provisions of the finance law of Cameroon for the 2021 fiscal year is justified by the need to take into account recent economic developments and the prospect of issuing a passport with new tariffs by July 1st, 2021. After the reading of the report of the Finance and Budget Committee by Senator Benjamin Amama Mama, Senate President Marcel Njifenji gave the floor to senators to put their worries to the minister delegate in the Ministry of Finance, Yaouba Abdoulaye. Defending the bill, Yaouba Abdoulaye convinced senators to adopt the bill, saying it will help in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic and raise the relief of Cameroon's external debt. On the heels of the minister delegate was his counterpart of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, Mununa Futsu, who defended the bill on volunteering. He convinced senators explaining how volunteering is a vital lever for development.
This law comes to create an inclusive environment for the development of all forms of volunteering. That's why either public, private, civil society or international organization, all those actors will find the way to promote volunteerism.
The bill was unanimously adopted by the entire House chamber.
About 20 newly appointed officials at the Cameroon Radio Television have been commissioned with a call for them to use their professional competences to boost the corporation's output. Among the priority projects outlined to the new directors, station managers, and service heads is the successful production of signals and the coverage of the 2021 African Cup of Nations. Emmanuel Avamue reports.
One after the other, they rise as their names are read out. Central Director, Directors and Service Heads, all set to push CRTV forward. They bank on their professional competencies to deliver the goods.
I know what I have to do. I have an idea, and I can assure you that I'm ready.
Between the school with other international schools, I think as an internationalist, that will be one of my missions in that school.
I will do my best to make sure that all the necessary equipment are well connected before everything. I'm ready.
The corporation's objectives have been presented to the new officials appointed after the 50th CRTV board session. No mistakes must be made. Results must be achieved.
You have a major challenge ahead of us, which requires that all hands should be put on deck for it to be met and surmounted. I'm referring to the African Cup of Nations, AFCOM 2021.
Time, therefore, for work to begin as every Cameroonian looks forward to a better CRTV that truly represents their aspirations.
On to some other developments now. The election of staff representatives in public and private enterprises in Cameroon will take place between the months of October and November this year. The announcement was made public in Yaoundé today by Labour and Social Security Minister Gregoire Owona during a consultation with representatives of trade union organizations. And as Cynthia Sabtala now reports, the elections had been delayed for all this while owing to the COVID-19 pandemic.
The 1992 Labour Code states that in all enterprises nationwide employing more than 20 workers on a regular basis, the election of staff representatives must hold for a 2-year term of office. With the health crisis postponing the election process scheduled for 2020, the meeting in Yaoundé between the minister, professional unions and other social actors aimed at setting the stage.
There are many new enterprises in need of staff representatives. Others no longer have such representatives, and in some, such people have either retired or have been fired. So we need another election. The minister asked us to review the legal framework to that effect.
While a date in the months of October or November are yet to be determined, the minister urged that elections in all enterprises be conducted in serenity.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
Let me now take you over to the Public Health Emergency Operations Center to meet our reporter Gilbert Ongene, who tonight will be exploring why the ongoing vaccination campaign against COVID-19 is targeting principally people aged between 18 years and above. And he is in the company of Dr. Eric Mboke. Hello, Gilbert.
Hello, Ben Menopufong. Welcome to the Public Health Emergency Operations Center. And we are talking about the vaccination that targets people of 18 years and above. We want to know why this target and if people less than 18 could solicit the vaccination. Our guest tonight is Dr. Eric Mboke. He is of the National Immunization Program of Cameroon. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, sir.
Now tell us, the vaccination campaign targets people of 18 years and above. Why?
What we have in the literature now showing us that the vaccine is good for those people. We don't yet have data that allow us to vaccinate children, people that are less than 18. So that's why. And added to that, the politic of the country now is to vaccinate those people that are age 18 plus.
Does it mean that those who are less than 18 have a stronger immunity and so they cannot contract the COVID-19 virus?
What is concerning people aged less than 18 is that in literature we don't yet have data that allow us to use the vaccine on them and be sure that the vaccine is accurate for them. So it's not that they cannot contract, but the issue is that we don't have much data that will allow us to use the vaccine on them safely. And as the research is still continuing, very soon maybe, seeing the research still continuing, there will be vaccines available that can be used on those people that are aged less than 18.
Ben Menopufong, for now, the vaccination campaign targets people of 18 and above. Over to you, studio.
Thank you very much, Gilbert Ongene. Some artists in Cameroon have been expressing disappointment over the amount paid out to them by their rights company in the name of royalties. Most of them deem the amount paid to them from the 112 million received from the state broadcaster, the CRTV, as insignificant, given that they have gone for years without receiving any dime from the corporation. Ewane Epole reports on the source of discontentment of the artists.
The distribution of copyright royalties to artists comes 6 months after the election of the new board chair of the Cameroon Musical Arts Corporation, SONACAM.
Criteria, we got a few copyright forms which have been filled at CRTV, which helped us to do some kind of sounding. And the dues are ranging from 50,000 to about 300,000.
A number of artists have criticized the move, saying it is a mockery.
They give me 100,000
by imposing to me to open an account. 45,000 francs. My elder sister Annie Anzoya received the same thing as me. My little brother Lucky Plus de Annie Anzoya has more songs than Lucky Plus de and I, but we receive the same thing, talking about money.
However, the board chair has clarified the situation.
Some of the complaints were caused by the fact that the banks, I don't know how, sometimes they deducted more than the amount that they officially agreed to do.
According to him, his ambition is rebuilding the dignity of artists, which seems to have diminished over time due to several happenings.
And the issue of authors' rights in Cameroon is a long and complicated one. It has seen the birth and death of rights corporations that have never ever succeeded to resolve the differences that continue to pit the artists on each other's throat. From Sosinadra to Sonacam, the house has been in a permanent state of turmoil, with the payment of royalties constituting the eternal bone of contention. Constantine Baum reports on what it will take to set the Authors' Rights Corporation on a safe sail.
The type that generates income more for artists in Cameroon is a public performance royalty for copyrighted works performed, recorded, played or streamed in public. Very few institutions have been respecting the law.
The various collective management bodies have established a document following a decision signed by the Minister of Arts and Culture. Each collective management body has its portfolio and the right to meet these corporate bodies and come out with agreements that will stipulate what to pay for the works of artists they use.
It is supposed to be an 80-20 playlist everywhere. 80% for Cameroonian music and 20 for foreign. Instead, more of foreign is played. That is 80 for foreign and 20 Cameroonian.
Our politics leaders take the decision and impose Cameroon music over all the media.
Play 80% of Cameroonian music and 20% of foreign music. We must play more Cameroonians.
Members of the Audit Commission for Collective Management Bodies strongly believe that if political will backs actions, the lives of artists in Cameroon will be better.
The management and staff of George and Jerry Construction Limited have been encouraged to keep up with the spirit of hard work and dedication in serving the nation with development and employment opportunities. This was at the company's maiden medal award ceremony, which took place in Boya and presided at by the governor of the Southwest region, Bernard Okaliabilai. Details with Yvonne Same Ngowa.
One of the leading construction companies in Cameroon, George and Jerry Construction Limited, with headquarters in the Southwest region, has been considered to be well-deserving of government's recognition.
They are the pride of the region. They are the pride of Southwest people. They continue to work hard to permit government to achieve the project earmarked in the region.
Created in 2004, the company has over the years stood the test of time.
They have got the medals is due to their hard work and honesty.
So there are more medals to come following their hard work and honesty to the company. That we should all of us join our hands to build Cameroon, which is our country, and Africa in general. The quality that my workers, they are giving me the courage, and the courage from the government also, that they are promoting us, and that is one of the encouragement that I had particularly, and the staff of George and Jerry in general.
About 21 labor medals of honor in different categories were handed over to meritorious personnel of the George and Jerry Construction Limited, amongst which was the distinctive decoration of the CEO as Officer of the Cameroon Order of Merit. To the recipients, the occasion served as a great moral booster.
It is a motivational factor, not to me alone, but all to the recipients who have had it today, as well as those who are working hard equally to have the same medal.
With groundbreaking projects all over the country, Mr. George Tabot Echo and his team are poised and moving ahead in the spirit of hard work and assiduity.
Let's talk sports now. The handball Lionesses of Cameroon, who emerged vice champions at the 24th edition of the Senior Women African Handball Competition, have been decorated Knights of Sports Merit of Cameroon. They were raised to this rank this evening by the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Narcisse Mwele Kombe, accompanied by other fellow ministers. This was in a solemn ceremony at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex to award exceptional medals from the head of state to the handball Lionesses and their staff following their brilliant participation at the just-ended Senior Women's Handball African Cup of Nations that was hosted by Cameroon. Clarence Nge reports.
It was an exceptional moment for the sports family Wednesday at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex. The 23 handball Lionesses plus their staff were decorated Knights of the Sports Merit. The medals awarded by the Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family were approved by the head of state in appreciation to the vice champions of the 24th edition of the Senior Women Handball Africa Cup of Nations. Presiding at the solemn ceremony, Sports and Physical Education Minister Professor Narcisse Mwele Kombe hailed the girls of Coach Serge Gebogo for their excellent output in the just-ended handball tournament and challenged them to redouble their efforts for upcoming competitions. For their part, the handball Lionesses expressed their gratitude to President Paul Biya, noting that they were vice champions thanks to a good team spirit, discipline and unity. The handball Lionesses, however, have to work extremely hard ahead of bigger tournaments, especially the Handball World Cup scheduled for December this year in Spain. Attended by a few government ministers, it was also an occasion to award medals to the May 20, 2020 and 2021 recipients of the sporting movement.
That was the 7:30 news. Thanks for watching. Good night.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
It's great to feel at home wherever